how AI would impact the job, where the entire IAM market is going in, how AI is impacting, how you can adopt IAM. Our goal should be to not focus on that, but to focus on that AI is already there in the product. It is already solving the problem. But points that I have highlighted are exactly those which AI is currently replacing. AI is here to replace. We should learn about behavioral based adaptive MFA, understand how AI has been used, because business wants fast performance, efficiency. AI is going to be very interesting. AI can definitely clean up your data, streamline a lot of things, but identify bugs, identify niche business areas or business. Hello everyone. So this has been a long awaited video that I have been thinking about putting. A lot of people have been requesting me about a video on how AI would impact the job of the IAM market in general, the IAM products that are been built. So this is an answer to all the questions that has come to me through Instagram, through LinkedIn, through WhatsApp. So I really wanted to make this video to kind of break some of the myths, because a lot of the time I see videos on YouTube just been put together to gain views and talking really things that does not make sense, because most of the time there are creators out there on YouTube and not architects or professionals who have actually been working in the industry. So from a professional perspective or from an architect perspective who have been in the industry for almost 14 years now, this is my perspective, my take on after understanding the IAM market, going through Gartner report, a Forrester report on where the entire IAM market is going in, how AI is impacting, and especially for people or the professionals who are engineers, who are developers. And also, this video is more about helping them and not scaring them, right? This video is not to scare you away on you should leave IAM, but how you can adopt IAM, AI, and anything that's any other technologies that is there to kind of make you a better version of who you are. So this is not a video that I'm going to scare you about AI is coming and then you choose a different option, but be in this domain, adopt AI, and then how can you improve your role, adopt new roles, get a really good salary hike and better compensation. So I'll be answering all these questions. So please do like, share, and subscribe the channel. And then if you want a one-on-one connection with me or you want a counseling with me, please follow the top mate link on the description below. So without any further delay, I will quickly share my screen and go through the video. All right. So will AI replace your IAM jobs? The honest answer, nobody's giving you, right? And this is primarily suited for everyone working in IAM, not the analyst or developer. But in today's video, I'm going to break the two roles here. All right. So the two roles that we are examining here are analyst, engineer, consultant, all fall under this category here, right? And your developers will fall in this category. So first, I would like to go and talk about what usually you guys would do as an engineer, analyst, consultant. Okay, there is a lot of operations and governance tasks. You are busy with provisioning, reviewing, compliance, right? Authentication, ticket resolution, talking to application team, investigation, stakeholder management, business interaction. All of this is what we anticipate happening on the life of a engineer, analyst, consultant. All right, and this is between 0 to let's say 8 years experience. Then let's talk about an IAM developer. You're definitely doing connected development, workflows, automation, API integration, and platform coding, platform customization, debugging, broken provisioning rules, debugging, authentication failed methods, and so on and so forth. The list is countless. All right. Now, this is how a typical day would look like. Okay. You have probably you start your day in the morning, do some access request triage, review some of the pending access tickets, validate business justification, approve, reject, escalate. And if someone who's not from this domain, this is how a typical IAM analyst, engineer, or a consultant's day would look like. Okay. And then we have user provisioning, deprovisioning, access review certification, incident anomaly investigation, report audits, stakeholder. Again, this is like a typical day. Definitely, I know how much you all will be bombarded with some random request coming in from application owners, some P1, P2, and all of that. Okay. But this is an ideal way, which sometimes doesn't hold true, but this is the typical day of a IAM analyst. Then let's jump into a IAM developer's role. Uh, Most of the time, it starts with meeting, a daily stand-up, connected development, debugging, workflow, rule writing, and if you're an engineer working and managing Entra, Ping One, or Okta, you do SAML integration, OIDC. Then definitely there is a lot of testing, code review, troubleshooting, right? And then you have requirements and technical design sessions, sometimes in the beginning, sometimes in the end. So basically, this is typical life of a developer. And if you're someone who was confused, do definitely reach out to me on my top mate link and I'll help you guide on how can you become or how can you choose between an analyst, engineer, or a consultant role, or a developer or a senior developer role. All right. So let's go to the crux of all of this. This is what you have been doing. All right. But let's understand what AI can do. And in today's session, I'm not going to, as I said, talk about everything's gonna be replaced or you will not be able to do a certain task and all. I'm going to break it down on what is the task where, as an engineer, I actually should not be focusing on. All right. It's not something that I should be spending a lot of my time. We should realize that if there is a lot of repetitive tasks, our goal should be to not focus on that, but to focus on tasks that is actually adding business value. All right. And we'll understand how AI is actually helping us there. Okay. So for an IAM engineer or an analyst here, auto triage access request by risk score, suggest approve, deny is typically what AI can do this for us, right? It can run access certification campaigns autonomously. It can detect anomalous access patterns instantly because this is a lot of the things here, right? Is mostly a data driven decision, meaning there is a large lake of data, some access requests lying around here and there. And as humans, also, it's very difficult for me to go and let's say identify an anomaly in a pattern. As humans, I cannot go and look at all the access requests, or I cannot go and look at all the SAML and OIDC configuration and say, okay, these applications are in use, these are not in use. I have to go through a lot of manual effort, all right? That is the first thing that AI is actually going to replace. It can generate compliance report automatically, which we go create multiple reports, correlate. AI can do that for us. And also it can flag toxic access SOD violations, which again, if as a human you have to do, there is a lot, it takes a lot of data, going through a lot of analytical skill, and only then you'll be able to get the right data. All of this currently can be replaced by AI. That's number one. And here I've also tagged about some of the products like SailPoint, Saviynt, Copilot for security, SailPoint AI and identity, Entra ID protection. These features are already available and AI is doing its part here. All right. Again, please consider this is not something that a human's task has been replaced with AI. This was typically difficult for any humans to do it. Yes, it was a lot of time taking thing. Let's say flagging toxic access SOD violation. I know there are a lot of application teams and application owners who have been getting a lot of data, doing correlation, and then coming back to identifying if there is violation. AI does that in a minute, which is definitely a win-win for us because if I'm not spending my time looking at a lot of report and a lot of junk data and finding the gold, the right data, right? I can spend my time doing a better work, maybe creating a better policy. All right. Let's say Entra does detecting anomalous access pattern instantly. How will, as a human, I will do that, right? Definitely there is a risk-based AIML working on the back end. So here you should understand that AI is already there in the product. It is already solving the problem, but 90% of the time, it is not going to take your job. These were the tasks which business wanted, which is needed for you to effectively run your IAM system, which was not possible by human for most of the cases, or it was taking a long amount of time. And on top of it, there is no guarantee of the right data being generated. Okay, so that is where, if you can see, auto triage access request by risk score. It basically gives you a risk score, identifies that whether or not an access request should be approved based on the history. Humans were not able to do that. As humans, what I will do, I will create a plain static policy that you go raise an access request, goes to the manager, I'll approve or reject. Again, how? There also a lot of the time there are errors. I will do a auto, I'll do a reject or approve based on my understanding of whether my team needs it or not. What if it can be automated, right? So that is one. Second, suggest approve or deny on access request. I am definitely spending a lot of time just approving the request. What if it could be just in time, right? Based on AI looking at the background and getting all the justification that as a user it is feeding to AI, and AI takes the decision. So here also it was not that I was very happy as a manager doing all the access requests and I was feeling very productive. There are a lot of activities I never felt productive as an engineer, as a consultant. And here the points that I have highlighted are exactly those which AI is currently replacing. So should we be worried? No, because it's not taking what I am currently doing and what I love the most. It is basically taking what I definitely would have not wanted to spend too much time on. And on top of it, even if I'm spending time, the quality of the data may not be correct, which AI is completely owning it and ensuring that it is making the data effective, the process effective. So that's for the IAM analyst. Let's move on to for IAM developer. A lot of the time, I come across a question where, because of all the coding platforms that AI has come up, I mean, has built, right? Like Codex and Mythos, which is evaluating your code, checking vulnerability and bugs and all of this. Will the role of IAM developer vanish, or will the role of a developer vanish? The answer is no. And I'm again going to break it down how I should be in a better position to focus more on owning the platform, building the right knowledge in that platform, but from 100% coding and then taking it from zero to, let's say, a full fledged platform in about 1 year, I may reduce the entire time in 3 months. Because I will then leverage AI to do that coding part, which I will be spending 8, 9 hours. But the logic will be mine, the code will be written by the AI. And we'll see it here how. First, you generate connector code from a prompt. All right, which GitHub Copilot and IAM SDKs are already available. You auto-complete bean shell, JS rule writing, Copilot is there. You're suggesting SAML attribute mapping using Entra Copilot. You're doing a debug fail provisioning with AI Assistant, writing the skim endpoint, generating a test case for workflows, which again, and I'll first talk about the test case scenario. I've seen a lot of the time where you actually need a developer, a testing team kind of working in parallel to basically complete the entire life cycle. All right, where you're writing the code as a developer and as a tester, you're writing the test cases. Many times I've seen these test cases not being written correctly. All right. Yes, you may argue that the process may be good, process may not be good, but it's the human again element coming into play. What if the test cases are actually written by AI? All right. In some cases, also tested by AI. Eventually, what is my goal as a developer? That when I'm shipping the product should be robust. That is where AI is coming into play. I will definitely have my team doing the development using the AI platform. So we are not moving out of replacing a complete tester or complete developer. That is not going to happen here, right? But my ability to write good code, my ability to test properly, my ability to debug failed provisioning has increased many folds. The time that I used to take, for example, a week to write the code, test, deploy, identify the bug has shrunk down to maybe 1 day or 2 days. So who's getting benefit here? The developer, the tester, the entire team, as well as business. The time that the business used to take from building, shipping, testing, and making the code fully ready. On top of it, also, only when you're testing the code, it may work well in UAT, it may fail in production. Imagine you have kind of eliminated all those errors that used to come when we were doing all of this manually. Because now, what AI does, it brings in knowledge from multiple repositories, best practices. You can talk to AI on, okay, I've built this product. Do you think this matches all the security use case? You can use Codex. You can use Mythos from Anthropic to test your code, whether it has any vulnerability. Now, imagine what we used to do. In order for you to make this robust, you will deploy the code, you will build the code, you will test the code, and then you'll put it on UAT, do a lot of SDLC, and then you will bring in a pen testing team, weeks and weeks of follow up. They'll take their own sweet time. You have kind of ensured that all of that is done with just you and your team managing the entire code. All right. How to write better code. Initially, a lot of people used to fear getting into development. But now with these AI platforms, you really do not need to fear. If you have the knowledge of the platform, the let's say Okta or Ping or SailPoint or Saviynt, and you're really good into knowing the platform, how IAM works, how provisioning should be working in, just use that logic, because that logic no one can steal away from you. All right. And then start writing your rules. That's where AI has come into play. It's not going to replace it. So consider this, guy. It's never going to happen that one fine day your manager says to Copilot that can you write or build a JS query for me and then deploy it, and then I'm just keeping quiet here. That is not going to happen, at least for the next 5-10 years, unless until there is a different set of feature that comes into play. All right. Yes, there are automations. All right. But that self-service is not going to happen. So now how do you get ready with all of this is what I'm going to talk in the next tech. But from a developer perspective, from generating code to actually testing, AI is actually helping you fast track this entire process. So you as a developer should be able to know how to use Codex, how to use Mythos, how to use any AI based coding platform or any platform that is helping you identify the vulnerability so that you can understand, make sure you identify them, and the next time your code goes to production, it should be clean, free from any bugs, free from any vulnerability. And you should be then contributing to your business to ensure that last time, maybe 2025, you shipped a similar feature, let's say in 4 months. Now you've done it in 1 month. Now imagine a business or a product company like Ping, Okta, Entra, Saviynt shipping 4 features, let's say in a year, major features in a year, to now shipping 12 features in a year or 10 features in a year. Imagine the business value that you're bringing in with AI. All right. So this is what AI can do. And this is something that is there. You need to be in the position to adopt this. All right. So AI is already inside. And let's talk how AI is already inside our IAM tool. So Microsoft Entra ID already has Copilot for security, right? It's an AI-driven conditional access anomaly detection, natural language policy creation via Copilot, auto risk scoring of sign-in sessions, Entra ID protection, ML threat signal. All of this is already available. So the first thing that you all should be doing is go and start learning about what these signals are: AI, automation, threat intelligence, and all of this. All right. So in order for you to learn, there is already a course, a first of a kind I've seen launched by CyberX Delta, which is applied AI in IAM. So if you want, please do go. And I think the link or the details will be put out on the description. If you want, you can just go, and there is a self-paced video available. So make sure you're learning it. Second, going back to SailPoint, it is now from a IAM platform to identity security platform. It has become an AI-driven IG, right? So here, AI role discovery, role mining, predictive access recommendation, autonomous access certifications, outlier detection for toxic combination is already there, and they are trying to mature this whole platform. So if you are someone who's depending on a skill set which is very manual, basic, mostly reporting based, definitely you will be replaced. And I believe as a human being, we should also not be sitting idle and doing a lot of repetitive process. So if these roles where you're spending too much time doing manual is soon going to be replaced, you should definitely be in a position to at least learn more about the platform and inculcate this uh, AI features or functionalities that these products are building. All right. So definitely there is a risk, but nowadays I see a lot of people, especially the new population of IM professionals that we have, are really looking forward to learn, and they are very enthusiastic about, okay, I need to do migration, integration, development, and all of this. So definitely I do not see a risk on the current generation, but people who are there from a very long time, please make sure that you are adopting this, or else definitely AI is here to replace not humans, but repetitive tasks that the humans are doing. All right. Then in Okta, it has behavioral based adaptive MFA, AI assistant for Okta admin workflows, phishing resistant passkey recommendations, automated app integration suggestions. All of this is already there. Now, us as consultants or architects, what should we do? We should learn about behavioral based adaptive MFA, understand how AI has been used, and try to implement these phishing resistant passkeys, right? Or understand how to build a robust kind of a policy for retail, for healthcare, for banking. So our focus should be on solving these bigger problems using these AI tools. Because initially also, when Microsoft AD was there, IDP came into play. It did not replace AD. AD has its own job. One of the feature was authentication, which is currently shifted to IDPs. All right, but AD will still have its own administrators and then people and experts, right? Similarly, when AI is coming into play or when DevOps is coming into play, IDP will remain. IDP will use these functionalities across it to make that platform better, because business wants fast performance, efficiency, immediate business drivers and all of that, right? Hence, these platforms are coming in play. It is not coming in play to kind of take your job away or nothing like this. All right. We should adopt. And the more you adopt, the more you will be doing interesting work. So, I mean, since like many years, I've been working on a lot of interesting work from solving customer problem or solving, let's say, or implementing passkeys or implementing risk-based authentication. How am I able to do that? Because I knew at some point in time the future is moving towards that direction. So I basically went upskilled myself, learned about cybersecurity, learned about AI, learned about DevOps, and now when the time has come for organizations to adopt, I'm ready. All right. So hence, I enjoy working in these platform, and that's the only reason I upskill. Similarly, AI is going to be very interesting, right? With the data out there in different organizations like banking and retail. So think from an industry perspective, how the data is spread across there, and you are there to solve the identity problem. Don't think from, okay, I just love doing this, I'll do this. Just ensure that you're equipping yourself to solve any problem that the business is bringing you. Now, there you may use DevOps in AI, in IAM, AI in IAM, right? You may use ML in IAM. It could be anything, right? But keep your IAM as the base and keep elevating yourself, right? So, and that's what the platforms are doing. Why do you think platforms are inculcating or introducing AI or identity security and so many new features? Just so that this is your business. If business problems are increasing, the platform should be there to kind of support that growing need. And as humans, as engineers, we should be there adopting the platform to again support the growing need. So think from that perspective. Okay. Then we have CyberArk. It has its own privilege: AI session anomaly, auto rotation recommendation, risk base, and many more. So the question isn't if AI is in IAM, it is already there. We have went through this, right? It should be, what does that mean for you? So we have already gone through what AI can do, what we can do, but now let's talk about what AI cannot do. I think this will bring smile to a lot of your faces as well. But at the same time, I'm pretty much sure this is going to remain as is with any technology, because what I'm going to discuss here is which needs a lot of human touch. All right. So the first is understanding business context. Okay. AI can definitely clean up your data, streamline a lot of things, but irrespective of me going and writing a prompt has to come from my business understanding, the analyst, the developer's business understanding. Like, and that needs to happen if I'm going and talking to application team. All right. Or else AI is going to simply develop something vague, right, which no one will be able to use. So, analyst, why does this person really needs access? So, we are understanding the business need, and it requires organizational politics, team dynamics, understanding business logic. AI sees the ticket, not the reality. If you go and type in AI that build a policy that basically goes and allows everyone to access every application irrespective of the user role, it will simply go and build. But is that what we need? No, right? So I think you are able to understand the difference. Developer, it can translate vague requirement. Imagine a non-technical application owner talking to AI. You will never be able to build any policy. So a developer will be needed, architect will be needed, a senior SME will be needed to translate all those vague requirements, like um, giving the context, right? Giving a fallback option, identifying the user personas, talking about the different devices. So requirement gathering will always be needed, and without in human intervention, it cannot be done, because it's really difficult to use AI and ensure AI understand every business requirement and then translates into a product. Highly impossible. The second one is negotiate, influence, and explain. I have like some senior leaders that I've worked in the past, right? There are a lot of the time where you have to go and convince application team to implement a certain policy, implement a certain implement a certain business workflow. So I just see them coming in, negotiating, influencing, and explaining the business need of developing it or putting that policy in place. All right. So AI cannot do that. You need to convince an application team, right, to complete a certification process or explain risk, why their application should not be using, let's say, implicit grant, or why their application should not be exposing all the groups, or why their application should not be exposing any vulnerability, right? We need to negotiate, influence, and explain this. And then, if an application team is coming up with a certain type of architecture, the developer should be there to push back. All right. The third one is handling novel and ambiguous situations. A merger happened. There are different users, different applications, no documentation. How do you migrate? Again, AI has no playbook for that. AI will never come into play and say, okay, as a acquisition acquired company, you put everything on Copilot and I'll take it from it. That is not going to happen. You will need analyst and the developer to basically manage their side. And then judging intent inside the threat nuances, understanding compliances, understanding threat. Because as a developer, architect, analyst, I can go understand, okay, there is a breach that has happened. How do I go and then secure my organization? AI is not going to give me a pop-up or alarm saying, hey, unless definitely we may argue that there are agents and all, but how often organizations are going to build those agents, and who's going to get those alerts? Eventually an analyst only or a developer only. So if you understand the whole scenario, what I've done is I have shrinked my capability of gathering the information uh, from just going into multiple sources to just being able to sit and use an AI platform to gather every possible compliance failure issues, security threats, right? About how to talk to a business, how to negotiate, right? Gather all the information in a single place and simply effectively deliver everything. It has increased the way human intelligence can be used as an engineer or as an analyst or as a architect multiple fold. So now the expectation that an organization will have from you is, are you someone who's going to adopt and fast track the business process because the tools are already doing? How often you're going to adopt those functionalities that is already been introduced in that IAM tool, let's say in SailPoint or Saviynt, and be a part of the team that is solving those business problems? Because with rising cybersecurity threat, with growing compliance problem, and with the wide variety of industry, uh, we definitely see, as per my view, AI is definitely going to help us understand these business contexts, understand the vulnerability if I'm deploying any product or any application, and also kind of identify bugs, identify niche business areas or business problems that I would have otherwise taken months and months to solve, to kind of give that to me in seconds. And for me, as an engineer, developer, consultant, architect, I just need to fast track my research process, understand, go back, deploy the code, uh, test the code, ship it, or as an IAM engineer consultant, put the right set of policy, go back to the IAM team saying, yes, this was the business problem, this was the business context. I was able to convince you, I was able to influence you, at the same time, tell you what is the best practice, at the same time, develop, build, and deploy it, which usually would have taken 4 months to now, which takes about 3 weeks to a month. So the real impact on your role is basically, I would not say that you are being replaced, but it's a redesigned way of what actually is going to happen. So as an IAM analyst, 70%, right, of your manual access ticket, app integration using SAML, OAuth, OpenID, generation report, right, which used to take 70%, 65%, 80%, 60% of a routine task will be replaced, all right, where now you can now focus on working on these edge cases, stakeholder communication, policy design, doing roadmap sessions, all right, and checking the output. For a developer, most of your boilerplate connector code, basic rule writing, SAML config, test case generation used to take 75, 55% of your time. That can be replaced with AI. Again, AI is automating. You will still be needed for doing the validation, right? And making this AI work is also something that you have to do. All right. So that is where you need to learn about AI, because you need to build this task so that the task can help you. Okay. I'm using AI to help myself. I'm not using AI to replace myself. So where you can focus building complex system design architecture, debugging AI generated code, custom business logic, cross platform integrity strategy. So if you see, there was a very like, you may not have realized, but uh, these tasks are very low replacement risk, right? These are very menial repetitive tasks which I'm pretty much sure you all would have been bored by doing. All right. And for someone who is actually new to IAM and want to shift, definitely for them they will be going through the normal process, because it is not that every organization will suddenly switch over to using AI. It's a journey. All right, you have around 5 8 years for organization to adopt and implement and go through that whole journey. So if you are new, consider all of this when you're coming to IAM, and already start working on these AI and all of this along with your tool training. All right. If you are new, if you're already working, definitely make sure you're upskilling on the existing tool and on the product. And at the same time, as I've said, the link is in the description. Go through the AI, uh, the applied AI in IAM program. I've gone through the self-paced myself. It's an interesting program. It is self-paced, available. So go grab your recording, start learning about it, and start changing your mindset. It's not about AI is going to replace. As I said, AI has redesigned the way we think. It has shifted our focus, and it will shift our focus from we just thinking about process, improving this small reporting, to now thinking about strategy, to now thinking about how to solve business use cases. All right. So interesting times are ahead. All right. Where for a developer, for analysts, for consultants, for architect. So inculcate these products and functionality, because the real threat isn't AI, it's IM professionals who refuse to use AI. All right. And you won't be replaced. Trust me, you won't be replaced. I have already learned a lot about AI in the last 1 year since I've seen it growing. So it has only helped me. I never feel the threat of AI replacing me, but I just feel it so positive that AI has given me the capability to fast track and take this business decision or take a product from zero to a full-fledged life cycle in just about months, which was a far-fetched reality for someone who was never a developer. And for people who were scared of developing, AI is really going to help you also know about development and push you towards understanding the development side. So you'll be replaced by an IM professionals who use AI better than you, but not with an AI. So with that, I'll end this video. Hope this video was helpful for all of you. And if you have any questions, feel free to put it on the comment section. And if you want a one-on-one session, reach out to the TopMate link given in the description. And please, if you really want to learn about AI, the applied AI self-paced is available in the description. Thank you very much. Namaste, everyone.